live.
Welcome to another edition of TDS Live as Seth Varnadore and Nathan Bond preview the Tulane Green Wave game for the South Florida Bulls. The Bulls on the road today. Kickoff is at noon on ESPN Plus. Seth, I feel pretty good about today. There was reports. We'll say reports. It depends on how you want to define confirmed or unconfirmed reports, that multiple Tulane players were out drinking last night, including a few starters.
Well, it's been a tough season, so.
I agree. So, I completely understand that, but, playing football with a hangover is less than ideal. Ask anyone from the 2007 USF Sun Bowl team. They'll tell you as much. But if you keep drinking, you never get a hangover. So is there a trade-off there?
Might be some interesting pregame warm-ups going on. We'll see. Might have to line up a few shots on the sideline there just to keep it going.
Yeah, get some real Blue Mountain State vibes going on the sideline for Tulane today as they prepare for the Bulls. The line started this week at Tulane -5, moved down to USF moved closer to USF at Tulane 3.5, and then it's back up to Tulane favored by 5.5. And we've got a baby on board here today, folks.
That's right. This is David. He just loves football, so he wanted to listen.
Big college football guy. Is he? Who's his Heisman favorite?
He's a. Who do you like? Kenneth Walker, Matt Corral. Who do you like? Oh, I don't know. I think he likes a dark horse candidate. I think Jordan Davis, maybe big Jordan Davis guy. He likes the big boys down low.
I hear you. Maybe is he a punt god fan?
No, he thinks punting is weakness.
Yeah. Team never punt over here at the Varnadore house.
That's right. So let's go ahead and throw it up. The talent here. This is another game. One of the 4 or 5 this year. USF is the more talented team in this game by almost any metric. You look at kind of by position, I think they're better at almost every position, except for defensive line.
Shocking.
And then they're better than the team talent. USF's actually moved up in the team talent this year. They were 69th. They're now 67th. So I don't know, guys hitting the portal, something like that. But they are now the 67th best team in terms of overall team talent coming out of high school. So that is good news. And then when you look at the depth charts, right, you kind of see the same thing. USF's offense is more talented than the Tulane's, and USF's defense overall is more talented than Tulane. Tulane has some pretty good players on defense, but what's interesting, you see Jaden Kennedy, he's a freshman, listed a defensive back. He started every game for them. He was not listed on their 2 deep this week when I went and looked at their game notes. I'm not sure if that was just an oversight or if something happened with him. I couldn't see any news of him being hurt or anything like that. So I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on with him, but he may not play.
Hey, Kennedy was their third leading tackler. He's got 47 tackles on the year, 2.5 tackles for loss, a couple of interceptions. So a pretty big blow to a defense that's played a lot better over the last few weeks than, I think they're playing better than they did, against the Ole Miss or Houston, ECU, teams that put up big numbers on them. ECU put up 52 points on this Tulane defense in early October. And I know weather was a factor for the ECU game for USF, but I didn't think ECU's offense was that explosive to be able to put up 52 points. Maybe I missed something. I clearly missed something leading up to that game because I really thought USF was going to win. But backup quarterback, freshman mistakes, all the like. But Seth, the only question mark for USF so far right now is, at least injury-wise that I know of, is Donovan Jennings, starting left tackle. He missed the last couple of series against Cincinnati last week. He did travel to New Orleans. We'll see in pregame warmups. I know Will Turner, who's an absolute insane person, left Amalie Arena around 11 o'clock last night and drove to New Orleans this morning through the night. He is there. Just an absolute madman for doing that. And God bless him. He made it there safely. But he's there. So be sure to look out for Will Turner and his boots on the ground dedication.
I mean, it may be incoherent rambling by halftime though. I mean, we'll see. He might just take a quick nap.
Yeah, he claims he was going to take like an hour or so to sleep, but I don't believe it. He's going to be at the stadium getting prepped because that's just what he does. So be sure to look out for it. I think his Twitter handle is what, W Turner 247.
I believe so. Yeah.
So be sure to look out for that. And that's really the only one. Brian Battie was battling a mild bone bruise in his knee. Got stepped on last week. I think the initial thought was he was a little bit more banged up than mentioned, but he's got a wrap up and he should be good to go. Just depends on how the running back depth chart shakes out throughout the game. No, go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing with the interesting part of that though, if he is hurt, you feel like you have some pretty good depth at that position. You'll probably miss him the most at kick return, and we saw that last week after he went out. There's a couple. You had the fumble on the kickoff return, and you didn't quite have that same explosiveness on that kickoff return unit. But I think they can handle him being out offensively. You'll miss him in the return game because he's probably one of the top ones in the country this year. So,
yeah. So, Brian's dad last night said he's good to go and he's getting number 4. Love the confidence.
I like it.
By Mr. Battie.
Insider knowledge right there.
Insider trading right there, guys. Seth, am I missing something? Like, this line is ridiculous. Like, what am I missing? Like, there's got to be some either an unannounced suspension that we won't know until 11:55 or so. I don't get this line whatsoever. Face value, everybody plays. What is this line?
Plays, I think. My guess is that I really don't think that people that these bookmakers pay a ton of attention to kind of these kind of games in the G5 to where, a game that's on like the sicko committee list. I don't think they're spending a ton of time on these. They kind of just put out a number. I would guess it's based on Tulane being at home and them being able to stop the run. That would be my guess is why these numbers are the way they are. And this Tulane offense is really bad, so this kind of negates the biggest weakness for USF, hopefully. That's kind of what you're hoping. And then if USF's shown the ability to be able to move the ball on really good defenses. Last 2 teams they've played are top 10 defenses, top 5 defenses. Tulane is not that. So I really don't understand. I feel like this is definitely a game USF can go in and win. Jeff Scott even said as much, which is kind of interesting to hear a head coach basically come out and say, hey, if we're getting better, we're going to win. That means we should win this game.
Absolutely.
So I think he's kind of did this. He kind of said the same thing after the Tulane game. He said Tulsa. He said, we thought this was going to be the week we got that first win. So they were pretty confident going in, and you saw how tight that game was. I think if they're pretty confident this week, you got to feel pretty good with how they're going to play. So we all picked USF to win. I think it's highly possible. I don't think this is this doesn't seem to be. And then on the other side we have Parker's prediction, and I believe he had USF winning by 2 points.
Yep.
So his numbers, which have been pretty good for this year for the most part, had USF in favor here. So I'm not quite sure exactly what's setting the line here. I would guess it's Tulane being at home, and maybe they think that a lot of people think about the Oklahoma game. The Oklahoma game is the only thing people think about when they think about Tulane. So maybe that's they think it's going to be a public side. So I don't know, but it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So usually when they don't make sense, they end up making sense closer to game time. So we'll see.
Yeah. Tulane's offense has been stagnant since that Oklahoma game, quite frankly. They've been able to eclipse 400 yards of offense just twice against FBS opponents this season. They didn't even do that in the Oklahoma game. All right, where they lost 40-35, lost by 5. But this offense has not been good since Will Hall left for Southern Miss. And everyone saw what Southern Miss did to Skip Holtz in Louisiana Tech last night without a natural quarterback.
Yeah.
Will Hall is a big difference maker, and Chip Long just ain't that guy. I think it's pretty clear he's not that guy. I mean, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Yeah. And we talked about it on the podcast this week. I really thought Michael Pratt was going to take a step up, and he just hasn't done that. And it's disheartening because I think he's still a really good quarterback. I mean, he's completing 58% of his passes. He doesn't turn the ball over much. I think he's thrown 17 touchdowns. He's thrown for 1,900 yards, only 5 interceptions. But it's basically the exact same thing he did last year. So
yeah, I'm just looking at numbers. He's the exact same guy, which you really thought after how well he played for a freshman last year that he's going to make that leap. And it's just pretty much he's him. That's it.
Through 9 games, both seasons, he's literally the same person. And when you get the free year and you come back as the same guy, it's jarring to be perfectly honest. And it's tough for. I feel bad for the guys over at Fear of the Wave because I mean they had really high expectations for this team this year. I mean they've been going to bowl games. They really had some success. They finally found a quarterback who could throw the ball, and he just comes back as the same person. And it's tough. I feel bad for him. I don't feel bad, from like noon to like 4 o'clock. I won't feel bad about it, but afterward I will. And Pratt's coming off his worst game of the year. He completed 13 of 30 passes against Tulsa in that overtime loss last week, 178 yards passing. So if Glenn Spencer wants to keep his job, this is the game where you can't give up your season average of 488 yards of offense a game. You can't do that. You can't do that against this team who's not showing that they are explosive at all on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and what's interesting, you see Parker, I pulled it up just because we were talking about it. Parker's kind of advanced stats preview here. He's got it as a 21-19 game. What's interesting is 98% of the bets, I believe, are on the under 60. And I think it's 60 now, 60 and a half here. So they're expecting a lower scoring game. And I think if you told me that the defense was going to play well and hold Tulane under 3 touchdowns, I'm telling you USF wins for sure. I feel pretty confident in their ability to score after these last couple weeks. I was kind of slow playing them a little bit, but I feel pretty good about where the offense is at. So if they come out and play like they have the last 2 weeks, I think this is definitely a game where if your defense holds them under 3 touchdowns, that you win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if I said in the preview or in the game thread that's up now, if USF holds Tulane's offense to under 400 yards, they will win this game.
Yes, I certainly think so. I mean, you look at all these numbers. If you don't let them have explosive plays, they're not great on offense at driving the ball down the field. This is Eckel, which is up here, the third one down, right, on both sides of the ball. Their offense is 116th in the country, and that rate is how many of their drives end up past the 40 or have an explosive touchdown. So this is really like a quality drives. They're 116th in the country in offense in quality drives. You see USF is 65th, so dead average right now. But if you don't let them get those explosive plays and you make them drive, which would lead to that yardage number you mentioned, they're not great. So if you hold them below that, that means they're probably not getting quality drives. You're not giving up big explosive plays. and you have a chance to kind of really, really limit them. And then if you do that, your offense is good enough to win the game for you.
I think so as well. I think Timmy McClain's in for a big day today. I don't believe the numbers for Tulane's defense as being as good as it is. I really don't. Maybe I'm missing something there, but I mean they're still giving up almost 450 yards of offense a game. They were really good for the last couple of weeks, but they still lost. Their special teams is atrocious. Their kickers are terrible. They're 6-12 in field goals this season, including missing that game winner last week, an absolute chip shot. So. If you can stall them out in the red zone, USF's done a pretty good job of doing that this year. I think they're 64%, 67% of holding opposing teams to not scoring touchdowns in the red zone. I think you can do that, and I love that meme that you always put up of the Indiana Jones, field goals. Bringing a field goal is like a knife, and then touchdowns are a gun.
Yeah, basically now in modern football, every field goal in the red zone is a failure. You need to cash those in for touchdowns. Then when you don't get in the red zone, that's when you cash in your field goals. So if you can finish drives in the red zone with touchdowns, and we talked about this on the film room that just came out and that we did live the other night, the biggest problem for USF this year has been finishing, whether it's tackles, drives, plays. If they can but they seem to be getting better as the year goes on. If they can kind of finish those drives on both sides of the ball, they got a really good chance to win this game. Interesting note about Tulane's defense. You look at them. So down here at the bottom, so the top is USF's offense versus Tulane's defense. You see percentage of first downs on first and second down. They're 25th in the country. They don't allow a lot of first downs. They're really good on early downs, so 53rd in the country early downs. So first and second downs, they're not giving up a ton on first and second down. They're pretty good there. They're about average. When you get down to third down, they are terrible. One of the worst in the country at third and fourth downs in terms of giving it up, in terms of success rate. So that's kind of interesting. They're pretty good on first and second down, really bad on third down. So if USF can kind of take advantage of those third downs and extend drives, I think this is definitely a winnable game on the road here.
I agree, and there are a lot of streaks in play here today. USF hasn't won back-to-back games to end its season since 2016. USF hasn't won a road game since 2019. That was the ECU game. That span of 10 games that they've lost on the road, 10 straight losses on the road. They haven't won a game in November since 2017, which spans 14 games. There's a lot at stake here. It's not just the streaks, it's are you actually improving? And if you can't beat this Tulane team, there are going to be some serious questions.
Yeah, this is my reaction if they lose on the road here to Tulane.
Oh no.
A crying baby. So
the kids have lost the plot.
It's total anarchy. I have to mute.
Oh man, kids are great, guys. If there's any questions in the chat, go ahead and ask them, and I'll take care of it while Seth's tending to his children. Listen, I downloaded. I went and got Hole in One Donuts this morning for the family, and I was waiting for it. I downloaded the Hard Rock Sportsbook app, and I saw this spread at USF plus 5.5, and then I had to do it. I downloaded it. I mean, right now you're getting basically if you lose, you get if you put in $100 and you lose your bets, you get two $50 free rolls. So I mean, you can get your money back that way. I bet USF on the money line, and I bet USF to cover the spread as well. I think they can do it. I'm not crazy in thinking that this team can win. They're a much more talented team than this Tulane roster. You saw it in the stats that Seth had up. You just see it. They're more explosive. Jimmy Horn is the fastest guy on the field at any one point. Timmy McClain is just as fast as anybody on that Tulane defense. I am confident that Jaron Mangum's going to score at least one touchdown today. And he may get closer to Quentin Flowers' record today and break it or tie it against Central Florida next week. That this is a game that I'd be shocked if USF doesn't win by more than 14 points. I am that confident. I think USF will win by 14 plus. I think this is one of those games where this is where we click and we're going for it now.
Yeah, I think all the elements are there. All the parts of the recipe are there for them to come out and kind of use this as a breakout on the road, and then go into the big game next week with a lot of momentum. And then you win that one, you go into the offseason with tremendous momentum, and the recruiting's picking up. It's all starting to kind of positively move forward here for USF. They just got to get it done on the field today to kind of start that train rolling.
Yeah, it starts in an hour and 20 minutes. Let's have some fun. Alex, no one so far. Be sure to check with Will. He'll have that more up to date than we will here in Tampa. Donovan Jennings is really the only question mark right now, and Josh Blanchard would slot in at left tackle if that were the case, unless they move Trey Jacobs to left tackle. But he's been really good on the right side. I don't know if they want to mess with that this week if Donovan doesn't go. He did travel, so there's good news on that front. I made sure I did some sleuthing and made sure that he was in New Orleans with the team. So just keep an eye on it. We'll know more. And then I think as we wrap up here, Seth, let me make sure I've got. Yeah, you picked USF to win 38-31. Are you standing by that prediction?
Yeah, I feel like USF is going to win the game. I feel pretty good about where they are offensively. I'm not trusting defense. Like I've said it earlier in the year, I'll pick them to give up less than 30 once I see them do it against a decent team. Temple doesn't really count in my eyes. I'll stay with my prediction. I think USF wins and gets a little momentum going here into the season.
Yeah, I'll stay with my prediction, 31-27 USF. But man, I really think this team's gonna blow the doors off this Tulane team. I don't think they're that good.
It seems to be that you have teams. They're kind of going the opposite directions in terms of motivation. I think USF seems highly motivated to try to finish the year strong. Tulane, I think, had pretty high expectations and then played Oklahoma well. I think you're starting to see their just motivation to go in the toilet, as evidenced by a bunch of up to 15 guys on the team, including starters, possibly going out drinking the night before a game. So seems like a good sign.
We'll see. But as Seth has to wrap up and take care of his kids because his wife's going to kill him if he doesn't. Be sure to check back in. I think we'll have a halftime show. Are you going to be available for halftime here, Seth?
Yes. I mean, hopefully halftime's nap time, so I think we'll be good by then.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. We'll check in at halftime, and we'll go over some of the first half stats and what went right, what went wrong, and we'll do the post game show after the press conference today. So be safe. ESPN Plus, high noon. Let's get a dub. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.